Hello, everyone, and welcome to another film review. We haven't done as many of these as we would have liked to have, just because the few that we tried just weren't really getting views. But we just recently went to see the new Evil Dead movie, and we haven't had another movie since 2013, since that one, and we wanted to talk about it. So, and I know a lot of people that watch our channel are into these type of movies as well. So we thought that it would be a fun movie to talk about. Now we're going to do a little review first, and then we'll kind of do a spoiler discussion, because I think that's the more fun part, is to kind of talk about some of the things that are in this movie. So I'll let you kind of kick it off, Kim. What was your overall thoughts on the movie?
I really liked it. I liked how it kept a really good pace, I thought. Because they kind of they hit you right off the bat, and then it kind of slows down. You get to know like some of the characters and stuff, and then all hell breaks loose again, and it just kind of pretty much stays that way for like the next like hour and 15 minutes or so. So it's like, and it was like an hour and a half movie.
Yeah, it's a little. I think it's like an hour and 40, but that's probably including
Yeah.
credits. So yeah, about an hour and a half actual runtime. Yeah, I think it definitely was paced very well. Because they know why you're there. They know, like, now don't go into this thinking there's going to be some deep character development. There's not really, but they make the characters likable enough.
Yeah.
So that when all hell does break loose, you at least kind of like feel like you know them at least a little bit. So there's like just enough of that, but not so much where you started to get bored or anything.
Yeah.
But now, I mean, the main thing of this movie, and just like all the Evil Deads, is the gore.
Yes.
Like, you're going there because you want to see some gore, and I don't think it disappointed.
No.
I think it delivered.
I want to say that of their budget, probably for this movie, at least 75% of it was blood.
Oh God, there is so much, and I also like that a good amount of the movie feels like practical effects.
Yes.
I assume there's some CG in there, because like if you've seen the trailers, there's like the scene where the woman goes on the ceiling from the bathtub and that.
Yeah.
I'm assuming that stuff's probably CG. I mean, I guess they could have done some kind of practical thing, but I assume that's probably CG. But they blended the practical effects into what might be the CG very well, to the point where I couldn't really specifically say anything was CG. I hate CG blood. That's one of my, because you can always tell. I don't know how to describe it. There's always something that you're like, that's not real.
Yeah.
Blood. And I don't know if I mean, there might have been a little bit, but like, there's some scenes, and we'll talk more about it in the spoiler. But yeah, overall, I mean, I definitely think that, if it's, I feel like this is the movie that you kind of know if you're interested in it or not.
Yeah.
Like, if you're into a splatter fest, just demons killing people and saying weird things, then I think that you will definitely be into this movie. What would you give it, 1 out of 10? We'll do the same as we do for Haunt Talk, so on a 0.25 scale.
I probably would give it like a 9.5.
9.5?
Yeah.
I like it. I would say my score is, I would say 8.5. I think it's really good. It's really good for what it is. Now, again, this isn't like a thinking man's movie or anything like that. This is no like A24 film. And the only complaint I say I'll have about this movie, and we'll talk about it more in the spoilers, which is coming soon here, but I think the very beginning and the very end of the movie, I don't think they needed to be in the movie at all. Was a really cool title card, or something that people talk about this. But it's like, and I saw another reviewer talk about this, it's almost as if they're like, no, the Evil Dead's in the woods. There needs to be a part that's in the woods.
Yeah.
It didn't add anything to the movie. So I guess now's the time we will just transition over to just actually having a discussion and spoiler talk. So if you haven't seen it, I highly recommend you check it out. Unless you don't like gory things, then don't do that. But we're going to talk about spoilers now. Just go right into that. So yeah, so the beginning, it's this couple. Well, it's a sister and then the sister's boyfriend. There's a sister. What is it? 2 sisters and the boyfriend, right?
I actually think that they're cousins.
Maybe
it's
they're
2
cousins.
Female cousins.
Okay.
And then her boyfriend of the week for the one girl. And they go out to the woods, and they're supposed to have like a whole big party. There's supposed to be a whole bunch of them. Well, only 3 of them actually show up to this little cabin in the woods. Yeah, of course, the one girl starts feeling sick.
Yeah.
And it turns out, well, we know why she's sick. Basically, she's infected with something, and
But I mean, that's what I just get. She like, I mean, she kills the boyfriend and like shoves a drone in her face, and then she kills the girl's friend. She scalps her. She pulls her ponytail off. It was
yeah,
really
that
gross.
was
I actually forgot about that.
something.
Yeah, that was really gross. That got a react. And our theater was full. Thankfully, everyone in our theater actually is pretty cool.
Yes.
It's nice. I like having a movie going experience with a lot of people, as long as there's not someone that's just being obnoxious. No one
Mm-hmm.
was, but for a movie like this, like everyone like screaming and squirming in the same parts. That it was like, this is the kind of movie I do implore you to go see in the theater. I think it adds, especially some of the things that happen in surround sound is just fucking nasty, which we'll talk about. There's one scene in particular we'll talk about in a minute, but yeah, like I said, there's nothing wrong with these scenes. So it begins with these people, and then it goes to where it's called Evil Dead Rise, because it's in a high rise apartment. And and then at the very end, the one character, she finds like the dead body parts of like all the zombies that the two survivors in the story basically deal with, and then somehow she gets possessed.
Mm-hmm.
Which I would say that's my other complaint with the movie is and this is kind of all with Evil Dead. And again, I understand the movies are meant to just be kind of schlocky, but these ones are a little more serious. I don't understand the rhyme or reason of how these entities work, because they're able to just possess the lady, the mom, in the elevator, kill her. Do they just kill her? And then take over her body, but yet they can't go. But yet now they're only in this body, but they can't get through a door to get to the family. But they can literally fly around throughout the building, soulless, and get into someone and just kill them. But now they can't.
Well, I think that once they're inside a body, they can't really escape it until that body is like completely obliterated. I think that's
Maybe?
kind
I
of
don't
the whole
know.
gist of it, is that they're stuck in that body
And if
until
someone
that
does
body's
know,
gone.
and like, why her? Because like, it's summoned, it seems like, at least, because the one daughter gets their, or was it the son?
The
The
son,
son gets pricked by
yeah,
the teeth on the Book of the Dead's really creepy looking in this.
yeah.
He gets pricked by it, the blood drips on it, and then that seems to what summoned it. It almost made sense if he was the first one to get possessed.
Well,
It's like the blood
yeah,
almost.
because he's the one that okay, so let's start from the beginning from that. So they have a really bad earthquake at one point, and the
Yeah.
kids are separated from the mom. They went to go get pizza, so they're down in the garage. And when the earthquake happens, it opens a hole that ends up uncovering a hidden vault that's
Yeah.
down there. That turns out to be a hidden religious vault
Yeah.
that is holding the Book of the Dead and recordings of this pastor reading things from this book. And that's basically what happens is the kid takes the stuff up, and he's a DJ or wannabe DJ. He starts playing the record, and it starts doing the incantation. And that pretty much starts
Right.
summoning everything. And then, of course, yeah, he pricks his finger on the book. The book opens because it gets blood, because, the book is made out of human flesh and blood. And that basically triggers everything happening. And the demon is basically summoned to the building. And I guess it kind of just sees the mom as the first person that it's like, oh, we'll just take this person. And that's who that decides to possess first.
Because that's just the part I don't understand. Like, what's the rhyme or reason of who they possess, who they don't possess, exactly how they get into the bodies? Because, like, it's moved into the one daughter, but I don't know how exactly. Yet the sister, even though she gets damaged and like all this stuff, she never gets possessed.
It has to go in. You have to have like a wound, and the blood has to go into the wound, because the mom wasn't possessed in the elevator until after they killed her and basically cut her and like tortured her.
Right, but they were able to possess multiple objects. See, that's what's weird
Yeah.
to me. I mean, whatever, it is what it is. But I just, if anyone knows how that works, I was surprised because in like the other Evil Dead movies, or at least some of them, the remake and the original Evil Dead, like the demon enters them by like penetrating them. And I thought that was actually going to happen in this one, because it does. The elevator, like the cables strap her legs and hold her up like a cross.
Yeah.
And I was expecting, like in the 2013 one, for a branch to go up somewhere. But that didn't happen. I was actually surprised it didn't go there. She just kind of all of a sudden got possessed when she was in the elevator. But yeah, and you get some. I thought that the main demon, which is the mom, she was really good as a demon.
Oh my god.
Really creepy, and like you've probably seen the commercials, but you get your great lines like "Mommy's with the maggot now," or "You titty sucking parasites." Those were good, but there's a lot of like fun things, like she says, like when she's talking to the daughter towards the end, she's like, "I just want your head, sweetheart."
Yeah.
Just like fun little creepy things that are like kind of funny, but also like creepy at the same time.
Yeah.
There's a lot of moments where I was laughing, not at the film, but just laughing because I'm like, oh god.
Yeah. Yeah. It definitely, it keeps with the Evil Dead being like this, like fun, kind of like, tongue-in-cheek,
Yeah.
but still gory and like kind of serious in itself too. And I just really like that. I think that's why I like the movies so much, is because they don't really take themselves too seriously.
Yeah, like they take themselves. These ones take themselves, like the 2013 and this one, take themselves more seriously than like the original three or the Ash versus Evil Dead series, which I still have not watched. I need to watch that. I've heard it's really good. I did appreciate that this movie was not scared to nix the kids. There's
Yeah,
that survives.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised that they. I was kind of happy that they were just kind of like, yeah, we're just going for everybody. Nobody's safe.
Like 9, 10, I don't know how old she is, but like 9 or 10-year-old that's looking actress. I don't know how old she actually is, but she looks young. The only one of the kids that survives, man, she has to go through some things. Like,
yeah.
Obviously, like, I'm sure she's aware that it's fake. She's a little actress. But, like, some of the stuff that's a practical effects, like, there's a point where, like, the elevator, when they're trying to escape, fills up to, like, the top with blood. And I don't know how they filmed it, but, I mean, it seemed like it was completely practical. So, I mean, like...
Yeah. I'm curious. I'd like to see some behind the scenes. Hopefully there's something somewhere that'll come out once the movie, gets into streaming or something. But yeah, it was, and I know like sometimes they try to like keep the kids away from seeing that kind of stuff when they're filming and stuff, and I'm sure they probably did. But
I don't know how that could have happened with this one.
I mean,
because like the horrible things were happening to the kids.
Yeah,
like a lot of the times.
Yeah.
So I don't know, but kids are also different now too, I guess. But yeah, so like there's a lot of like fun, not even necessarily kills in this movie, because it's not, probably the most disturbing things aren't actually the kills.
No.
There's two scenes in particular. Well, the scalping scene is a really fun way to start the movie off, because she just takes her ponytail and just rips her scalp off. But probably the two things that got the whole theater going the most, and I think the scene that's going to be the most iconic, is the cheese grater scene.
Oh.
Like,
they just pan to it, and and you're just like,
Because the one demon, like, throws it at her, and she has it in her hand, and the demon eventually takes it, and it just cuts to her leg, and she just goes... And it's a real quick scene, but it's just enough, because it cuts, and she just starts cheese grating the girl's leg as she's trying to crawl away.
Like, I could feel it. I was just in there. I'm like, oh, gosh.
Yeah. That, and then leading up to that, when she goes in, the daughter's now possessed, and she's just eating a wine glass.
Yes.
That was what I was talking about with the sound, and that surround sound, all the crunch. And then just to make it worse, it does a close-up of her throat, and you see little pieces of glass poking out her throat as she's swallowing it. And I'm like, bleh.
Yeah. I got to get rid of the parasites in my tummy. Ugh.
Yeah.
Yuck. Ugh. Yeah, the way they did little things like that, just it just was wow. Like what was it? The whole scene in the hallway with all the other neighbors with the eyeball.
Oh God, I forgot about that. It took me a minute. That was probably, out of all the things that happened, that was the most like schlocky.
That was pretty schlocky
because
funny.
She bites the guy's eye. What does she do?
She bites his face, and she gets down. Yeah, she gets down so deep. Yep. She bites his eyeball out, and she takes it and she spits it. Yeah, it goes into another kid. He starts choking on it, and he's like,
just perfectly into his mouth.
And then it like spits out from that. And it's just, oh my God! It was just like this whole like from one to another person, and it was just craziness. Like the whole scene was just like.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And then I was wondering, because in the first one they really they end it with like, well, like the final like fight was like grandiose because like it's raining blood and like there's this awful scene where a jeep rolls on the girl and she has to pull her arm out and it's just ripping all of her tendons apart and then she chainsaws the girl and I'm like, how are they going to make this much blood at the end of this? Because it's an apartment building, so they fill up the entire elevator with blood. And I mean, so they at the end are just, I mean, they're just they're blood. They are blood people now.
They are blood people.
The poor young girl and and her aunt, I think she is in the movie, right? Yeah, her aunt. And then also they do some creature horror, which I kind of found fun.
Yeah.
Because in the book it flips to the page and it kind of hints at it, I guess, if you want to use that word, of like this thing with all these limbs. And then you see all the zombie people like ripping, I think they're ripping the mom apart.
Yes, they come to the mom and they start ripping her apart and start like putting themselves like into their hands. Her.
And you're like, what's going on? And you see that page, you're like, ew. And then it kind of shows that all of the bodies are gone. So they become like this amalgamation thing.
Like, it literally, it's like a tribute to The Thing. Like, it's just this monster blob of... And like I remember him making a noise when the creature comes around. They're in the garage part, and all you see like from under the car is like the arms and legs walking, and like one of the arms is just like
it's like backwards, it's
backwards, and it's just flopping about, and he just made like this like ugh noise.
And I like the scene because like they're kind of like, this scene is a little unreal. It's like, how did the thing not hear them? Like they're not being quiet.
No,
but it like took it a while to find them. But, so yeah, it was kind of a cool ending scene, and of course they had to bring it, it's Evil Dead, so that for some reason there's a chainsaw and a wood chipper in the garage, so she gets to chainsaw the thing in the face before pushing it into the wood chipper, and then it just sprays blood everywhere, because there wasn't enough blood in the elevator filled with it, which I assume also was an homage to The Shining, because at the end it opens and it just pours throughout the hallway. I imagine that they purposely shot it that way to kind of call back to that scene in The Shining when that happens, but... Yep, and like I said, and then it ends, like the very ending is, it ties it back to the beginning with the girl kind of finding all the body parts from the wood chipper, and then the demon just is flying through the air and goes into her, so. Yeah. And it's hinted in this, well, not hinted, I think you said, it is said that there's multiple books of the dead now.
Yeah.
I don't know if that was before, I don't know.
When, the boy is listening to the records, the pastor, priest, or whatever you want to call him, on there is talking about the Book of the Dead, and he said that this is one of many, and I think he said one of 5. 4 or 5 or something like that, because it does look different than like the other books do, where obviously we know like, the traditional Book of the Dead with the lovely little face all over it, and I don't recall what the 2013 one looked like.
I don't remember. I assume it was in it. It had to be, but I don't remember.
Yeah. He mentions that this is one of many books.
Yeah.
So maybe that'll kind of like play into if they continue to do sequels, which I do hear that they are planning on doing sequels, because I do follow Bruce Campbell, and he said something about...
Because him and Sam Raimi were producers on this. Yeah. The directors only made one in a movie called The Hole, which I actually have seen a few years ago on Netflix. It was, from what I remember, it was pretty good. This was not the same director as the 2013 movie, who's went on to things like Don't Breathe and that. But yeah, I thought it was a really good time. Like, I mean, it was really gross. There was a lot of nonstop action, good tension. Not many jump scares, a couple little jump scares.
Yeah.
Nothing real. Well, they have like a couple like, almost like fake out ones at the beginning of the movie. But when actually stuff starts happening, like actual like demons start killing people, it's really focused on just being nasty and just kind of like tension filled. But yeah, I think that anyone that was been into any of the other ones I can't imagine someone hating this movie if you've liked the other Evil Deads.
Right.
Like, you will know if it's your thing or not. But yeah, let us know in the comments what you thought about it. Also, make sure you like and subscribing. If you want to see us continue to make more movie reviews, let us know. There's a lot of horror movies out right now. The other main one I want to see is it, I think it's Beau Was Afraid or Beau Was Afraid.
Beau Was Afraid, and
that's
Renfield. I'd like
Renfield,
to go see that.
I do want to see Renfield. That's more of a horror comedy, but I have heard it's pretty gory. I would like to see that. So yeah, hopefully we'll make it to see that. But there's also like The Pope's Exorcist is in theaters, and a couple others I think that are coming out soon. The Pope's Exorcist, I don't think I really have much. I don't really think I care about seeing that. It doesn't look like... Usually I don't like possession movies. Evil Dead's kind of like... Technically it's a possession movie, but like it's very different than a typical one. Yeah. No one's getting exorcised. People are just getting ripped apart.
Yeah, yeah. Nobody's getting saved here.
Yeah, no one's... Although in the 2013 one, somehow... She gets unpossessed. I don't remember how. I need to go back and watch that, because she's possessed, but then she gets unpossessed and then, like, kills the thing.
Oh.
Yeah, because the main character, the addict in
Yeah.
the movie, yeah, she does get, but she becomes unpossessed because she's the only survivor. But she's the
Yeah.
first one to get taken because she gets violated in the woods or whatever, and then she kind of like kills a lot of the others. But then I forget. I need to go back and watch that movie because I do not remember. It's been a long time since I've watched that one from beginning to end. But yeah, thank you very much for watching, and we will see you in the next episode.
Bye.